Hey there, ready to decode your career path? Like it's written in the stars. We're taking a deep dive into career astrology today.
Oh, yeah.
We've got this super interesting article all about how the planets and houses in your birth chart
Hmm.
could give us some clues about job changes, promotions, all that good stuff.
It's true. It's all about like using astrology as this lens to understand your career path.
I love
So this article specifically
that.
dives into this idea called the Artha Trikona,
Oh. Oh,
which sounds really
it
complicated.
does sound kind of intimidating.
But it's basically just a fancy word for a group of houses in astrology
Okay.
that relate to your career and your wealth. And
Okay.
the article talks about how these houses connect to certain planets and transits, and those things can potentially give us some insight into those professional milestones you were talking about.
The Artha Trikona,
Yes,
I feel like I should be chanting that.
right. It sounds very mystical,
I know, like what is...
like a secret society in your birth chart.
Exactly. So, okay, let's break it down. We're talking about houses in astrology, which I know a little bit about, but for people who maybe their charts are gathering a little cosmic dust, what do those houses represent again?
So think of your birth chart like a stage,
Okay.
and each house is like a different setting in your life.
Okay.
So you've got a house for your career, one for your finances, relationships, all that good stuff.
Makes sense.
And the planets, those are the actors.
Okay.
They move through those houses,
Yeah.
each one bringing their own energy and their own flavor, you know?
It's giving cosmic play.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So the Artha Trikona zooms in on 3 of these houses.
Yeah.
The 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th.
Okay.
And all of those are about career and wealth.
Okay, so it's like this power trio in your chart. Each one's got its own like theme music when it comes to your professional life.
Exactly. So the 2nd house is all about your values,
Mhm.
what you value in a job maybe, and your earned income. The 6th house dives into the nitty-gritty, your daily work, how you're of service, the challenges you face. And then the 10th house, that's the headliner, right?
Right.
That represents your career, your ambition, your public image, like your overall rep in your field.
So if I'm picturing this cosmic stage production correctly, we've got these 3 houses, each with their own like set design and their own vibe.
Love that. Yeah.
But then it's the planets, the actors moving through those settings that really add like the layers of complexity, right?
Absolutely. And that's where it gets really interesting because the article, it really focuses on certain planets like the sun, the moon, Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury,
Okay.
because they have this particularly strong influence on our career paths.
Okay, so let's cast these celestial characters. I want to know what roles they play in our career story, starting with the sun, because everybody loves the sun.
Of course, yeah, the sun is like your core self, your vitality,
Right.
and it's often linked to leadership and authority,
Hmm.
which, makes sense with that 10th house energy we were talking about.
Right.
So like a strong sun in your 10th house could suggest that you're someone who's naturally drawn to being in charge or a career that puts you in the spotlight.
Okay, so we're thinking like CEO with a powerful sun in their 10th house,
Yeah.
or like an actor, even.
Definitely someone who's not afraid to be seen.
Okay, that makes me think though,
Yeah.
what about somebody who's really drawn to like a life of public service? Is that a sun in the 10th house kind of thing too?
That's a great question. And you know what? It could be.
Yeah.
Because the article also highlights the moon as this really significant player in our careers.
Okay. The moon. So we're switching gears a little bit.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the sun is all about that outward leadership, right?
Yeah.
The moon is about your inner world, your emotions, your instincts, how you respond to everything around you.
Which is huge when you're navigating like the ins and outs of any kind of work environment, especially if you're in a field where you're like dealing with people all the time.
Oh, absolutely. So a strong moon in that 10th house, or even just like strong connections to the moon from other planets in your chart might indicate that you're naturally drawn to careers that involve like nurturing, caregiving, public service.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm already seeing how just those 2 planets alone can give you a lot to think about
Yeah.
when it comes to your career path.
Totally.
But we've got a whole cast of celestial characters to get through here. So what about Jupiter? That's usually a good one, right? Like good fortune, abundance, all that.
Yes. Jupiter is your lucky planet.
Okay.
Expansion, opportunity, abundance.
Yes.
Definitely the planet you want on your side when it comes to your career, for sure.
Okay, so if Jupiter's like swinging by my 10th house, visiting for a little while, am I getting a cosmic promotion? Like, what's happening?
It can certainly feel that way.
Yeah.
Jupiter transits often bring about this sense of flow and ease and things just seem to click in your career.
Love that.
You might find that you're presented with these new opportunities or you're getting recognition for your hard work,
Yes.
maybe even experiencing a little surge in abundance.
Okay, it's a vibe. I like it.
It's a Jupiter vibe,
It is.
for sure.
A cosmic promotion does sound pretty nice. I'm
Mm.
not going to lie. But I know astrology is not all like Jupiter high fives and rainbows.
Right.
What about Saturn? Because that's the planet of like hard work and discipline, right?
Exactly. Saturn's energy is definitely a little more like grounding.
Okay.
It's that reminder that real success, it takes time and effort and perseverance.
So no shortcuts to the top if Saturn's involved.
Not necessarily Saturn's influence is more about building those solid foundations.
Okay.
Like it encourages you to really develop your skills, learn from your mistakes, and just embrace the long game when it comes to your career.
That actually makes me think about those times when you feel like you're hitting a wall in your career, maybe questioning things a little bit. Could Saturn have something to do with those moments too?
Absolutely. Yeah, when Saturn's transiting through like a significant point in your chart, especially those career-related houses we talked about, it can definitely feel like a reality check.
Interesting.
It might bring up some challenges that force you to kind of reassess your goals or like redefine what success actually means to you, or even just put in the work to overcome some obstacles.
So less about Saturn like punishing us and more about like Saturn's pushing us to level up. Exactly. Saturn wants you to reach your full potential, but it also wants you to earn it.
I like that. Okay, making a note to myself. When it comes to Saturn, embrace the challenges because they're leading me somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, what about our last celestial player here, Mercury?
Ah, Mercury, the quick and clever communicator of the zodiac.
Always moving.
Always, always thinking, right? So in the context of your career, Mercury really highlights how important it is to be able to communicate clearly, be adaptable, and always be willing to learn new things.
Which makes sense in pretty much any job, like being able to get your ideas across, pick up new skills as you go. That's vital.
Oh, absolutely. So a strong Mercury in your chart, or again, like those harmonious connections to Mercury from other planets, might mean that you're just naturally a good communicator, a skilled negotiator.
Maybe you thrive in roles that involve a lot of writing or speaking, teaching even.
It's like Mercury's that coworker who always knows how to write the perfect email or give a killer presentation.
Totally. And actually, the article also mentions that Mercury, along with the moon, is often involved in those career changes that happen really quickly, like a job transfer.
That's interesting. It's like because those planets move so fast through the zodiac, their influence on your career path might also manifest as these like fast-paced changes too.
Exactly. Those swift planetary movements might symbolize like a sudden job offer or a relocation opportunity, or even just a shift in your day-to-day tasks that requires you to think on your feet and adapt quickly.
It's like Mercury and the moon are saying, be ready to pivot when opportunity knocks.
Right.
Okay, speaking of opportunities, the article also talks about transits, which are those big cosmic events that can signal some really significant shifts in our careers.
They can, yeah.
So can you kind of break down what those look like for us?
Of course. So remember how we were talking about the planets being like actors on the stage of your birth chart?
Yeah.
Transits are those moments when a planet's energy is directly interacting with the fixed positions in your chart, like your Artha Trikona, for example.
Okay.
So it's like those actors are stopping by for a little visit
Right. Okay.
to those specific houses.
So let's say Jupiter, our abundant, lucky planet, is transiting through my 10th house of career.
Yes.
Does that mean, like, update the resume because a promotion's coming? Like, what's happening?
It's not necessarily a guarantee, but it
fine.
could definitely create an environment that's just like ripe with opportunity.
Yeah. Gotcha.
It's like Jupiter's that friend who's always introducing you to new people and opening doors for you.
I love that. Okay.
Right.
So Jupiter's that friend. I like it. Okay.
Exactly.
Not a guarantee, but it's definitely like planting those seeds of possibility. I
Exactly.
can get behind that. But I have a feeling that not all transits are created equal.
Right.
What happens when other planets, maybe not so lucky planets, decide to take a little visit to our Artha Trikona?
That's a great question, and it's where things get really interesting.
Okay, so let's talk about those not so lucky planets.
Right.
What happens when their energy intersects with our career paths? Because I'm guessing it's not always like smooth sailing.
Yet, you're right, not all transits are about like expansion and opportunity.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're about those necessary periods of like introspection, reevaluation, and growth.
Right.
you know?
Like those Saturn transits we were talking about earlier.
And
Those reality checks that kind of push us to level up.
exactly.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, Saturn's transiting through your sixth house of like work and daily routines.
Okay.
This could be a time when you're really feeling the pressure to be more efficient or more organized, or maybe even just like questioning if your current work is really aligning with your long-term goals.
Okay, so instead of fearing those transits, maybe it's more about asking ourselves, what is this like cosmic nudge trying to tell me? What am I supposed to be learning here?
I love that perspective, and I think that's really key because astrology, especially when it comes to our careers,
Yeah.
it's not about like predicting the future with absolute certainty. It's more about understanding the energies that are at play and using that awareness to make like more conscious choices.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And this whole conversation has really got me thinking about my own birth chart in this new light.
Oh, yeah.
It's like instead of just seeing those planets and houses as like static things, I'm starting to see them as this like dynamic map of my potential and my challenges and my opportunities.
That's what's so fascinating about astrology, though.
Yeah.
It's a tool for self-discovery.
Yeah.
It's not about like handing you this pre-written script for your life, but more like giving you the insights and the deeper understanding of your own strengths and weaknesses so you can work with them.
It's like the universe is giving us a cosmic compass, but we get to choose the direction, you know?
Exactly. And sometimes those seemingly challenging transits or planetary placements are the very things that kind of redirect us toward our true north,
Hmm.
even if it takes us a little while to figure that out.
That's so true. Well, this has been such an insightful conversation.
Oh, good.
I know I'm walking away with this whole new perspective on how astrology might be playing a role in my own career journey. So thank you so much for like illuminating all of this for
Oh,
us.
you're so welcome. This is like my favorite thing to talk
Well,
about.
it shows you're great at it.
Thank you.
So for everybody listening who's maybe just starting to explore this, or maybe they've got their birth chart, but they don't really know what to do with it, what's like one thing you would encourage them to keep in mind as they're kind of navigating this whole thing?
I would say just remember that your birth chart, it's a blueprint. It's not a limitation. It's really just a tool to understand yourself better and, navigate this whole career world with a little more awareness and maybe even a touch of cosmic guidance.
I love that. So until next time, everybody, keep exploring, keep learning, and maybe take a peek at that birth chart. You never know what you might uncover about your career path and yourself.